For over 50 years, the world's financial system has run on the dollar standard, a system that has shaped the way nations trade, invest, and interact on the global stage. After the US ended the dollar's convertibility to gold in 1971, the dollar became the global reserve currency. This historic shift untethered money from gold and set the stage for a new era in international finance. Central banks everywhere hold dollars to trade, settle payments, and stabilize their own currencies. The dollar became the backbone of cross-border transactions, trusted by governments and businesses alike. Most major commodities, especially oil, are priced in dollars, creating constant global demand. This petrodollar system tied the world's energy markets to the US currency, reinforcing its dominance. This made the US the central hub of global finance and gave it an exorbitant privilege, the ability to buy imports and issue debt in its own currency. The world's savings flowed into American markets, fueling growth and prosperity. But this system has deep imbalances. It has also made the world vulnerable to shocks in the US economy, as crises in America can ripple across the globe. The world needs dollars, so it sells goods to the US, fueling persistent American trade deficits. This cycle has become a defining feature of global commerce. The US exports dollars and imports real products. The world invests those dollars back into US assets like treasury bonds. This recycling of dollars has kept American interest rates low and supported government borrowing. This cycle has kept US interest rates low and financed government spending for decades, allowing the US to live beyond its means in ways other countries cannot. The arrangement worked during times of US economic dominance and global stability. For decades, the world benefited from a reliable anchor in the dollar. Nations trusted US debt as a safe reserve asset, and the treasury market was the world's safest place to park money. This trust was built over generations. This trust was the invisible glue holding the dollar standard together, allowing the system to function smoothly even in turbulent times. But as the global landscape shifts, the assumptions behind this system are being questioned. New powers are rising, and old certainties are fading. Major economies are rethinking their reliance on the dollar, alternatives are being explored, and new alliances are forming. The world is no longer as willing to accept the US as the sole anchor of global finance. Confidence in the old order is eroding. The foundation of the dollar standard is showing cracks. Uncertainty is growing about what will replace it. The era of unquestioned dollar dominance is ending. The world is searching for new solutions to old problems. The world is preparing for a new financial order. The next chapter in global finance is about to be written. The question now, what comes next? As the foundation shifts, the future of money and power hangs in the balance. The dollar standard's dominance is under threat as de-dollarization accelerates. For decades, the US dollar has been the backbone of global trade and finance, but now, that era is being challenged like never before. Countries like China, Russia, India, and Brazil are settling trade in their own currencies, bypassing the dollar. These nations are forging new financial alliances and experimenting with alternative payment systems to reduce their reliance on the greenback. The turning point came when the US and its allies froze Russia's reserves in 2022, sending shockwaves through the global financial community and showing that dollar assets can be seized in times of conflict or political tension. This revealed a hidden risk. Reserves in another country's currency aren't truly sovereign. Central banks realized that their financial security could be compromised by geopolitical decisions beyond their control. Central banks responded by shifting reserves, buying gold instead of US treasuries. Gold, with its centuries-old reputation as a store of value, is regaining its importance in global finance. Gold is neutral, carries no counterparty risk, and can't be frozen by foreign governments. It offers a sense of security and independence that fiat currencies cannot match. Meanwhile, key commodities like oil are increasingly traded outside the dollar system. Major producers and consumers are negotiating deals in local currencies or through barter arrangements. Every non-dollar oil deal chips away at the dollar's structural demand, gradually eroding its central role in global commerce. The dollar won't disappear overnight, but the cracks in its foundation are widening, and the world is watching closely as the balance of power shifts. The global financial system is undergoing a profound transformation, with new networks and alliances emerging to challenge the old order. The world is moving toward a multipolar, commodity-backed order, where economic influence is more evenly distributed among nations. The age of dollar hegemony is fading, and a new era in global finance is just beginning to take shape. The heart of the shift is trust, or det fardambai, or the loss of it. Fiat money, like the dollar, has value only because people trust the issuing government and central bank, but there's no limit to how much fiat can be created, and recent years have seen trillions printed to fund deficits and bailouts. This erodes purchasing power and fuels inflation. In contrast, gold and silver are scarce, tangible, and can't be created at will. They've been reliable stores of value for millennia. As trust in fiat weakens, central banks and investors seek refuge in assets that can't be debased. The world is moving away from promises and toward physical value. This isn't a rejection of money, but a rejection of money that's lost credibility. The social contract behind fiat is breaking down. The search for real trustworthy assets is on. The global system is shifting toward what some call Bretton Woods III, a transformation that is quietly reshaping the foundations of international finance. Unlike the old dollar-centric model, this new order is multipolar. Multiple currencies and commodities now share the stage, reflecting a world where economic power is more widely distributed. The dollar remains important, but now coexists with the yuan and others, as nations diversify their reserves and seek greater independence from any single currency. The key change is that reserves are moving from government debt to tangible assets like gold, oil, and industrial metals, real things that hold value beyond paper promises. Wealth and influence will increasingly be measured by control over real resources, not just currency holdings or financial instruments. This isn't a formal agreement signed by world leaders, but an organic, bottom-up process driven by necessity and opportunity. When China buys Russian oil with yuan, or Poland repatriates gold, that's Bretton Woods III in action. Real-world transactions that signal a deeper shift. The new system is decentralized, anchored by hard assets, not just promises, or digital entries in a ledger. Gold is regaining its role as a core reserve asset, trusted for centuries, and now returning to the center of global finance. The world is rebalancing power and risk, as nations seek stability in a more uncertain era. The monetary order is being rebuilt, one trade, one vault, one bar of gold at a time, as each transaction adds to the new foundation. The age of abstract, debt-based money is ending, giving way to a system grounded in physical value. A new era of tangible value is emerging, reshaping how nations, businesses, and people understand wealth and security. Basel III regulations are quietly transforming the banking world's view of gold. Previously, gold was treated as risky on bank balance sheets, discouraging banks from holding it. Now, under Basel III, physical gold is a Tier 1 asset, zero risk, on par with cash and top government bonds. The catch: only allocated physical gold counts, not paper claims or unallocated accounts. This change incentivizes banks to hold real gold, not just promises. Banks worldwide are adjusting their reserves to meet these new rules. Gold is no longer just a speculative commodity, it's a core, risk-free asset. In a crisis, a bar of gold is more reliable than a government IOU. The financial system is quietly shifting back to hard assets. The rules now reward tangible value over financial engineering. The new monetary order isn't a distant theory, it's unfolding right now. Central banks have been net buyers of gold for over a decade, with record purchases since 2022. This is a strategic move away from dollar assets and toward neutral, hard reserves. Basel III rules are already in effect across major banking regions, making physical gold a prized asset. Banks are restructuring their balance sheets to favor tangible assets over paper claims. Non-dollar trade agreements are multiplying, and new financial infrastructure is being built by blocks like BRICS. These aren't just political gestures, they're the foundation of a parallel system. The world isn't waiting for permission, it's building a new order, trade by trade. The era of dollar dominance is already over. The transition is happening in real time. The financial landscape is being rewritten before our eyes. Bretton Woods III and Basel III are reshaping risk and value for banks and markets. Physical gold's new status as a zero-risk asset makes it a powerful tool for banks to strengthen their balance sheets. This will likely create a premium for real allocated gold. while paper gold loses appeal. The gold market will become more transparent, with prices reflecting true physical supply and demand. The shift challenges the old idea that government bonds are the ultimate safe asset. Basel III signals that physical gold may be safer than sovereign debt. This is a quiet revolution in financial thinking. Counterparty risk is now front and center. Even governments aren't immune. As this idea spreads, asset pricing and risk management will change across the system. Markets may become more resilient but also more volatile during the transition. The rules of finance are being rewritten. Basel III draws a sharp line between physical and paper gold. Only allocated physical gold, specific bars owned and vaulted, gets zero risk status. Unallocated gold and most ETFs are just paper claims, not true ownership. In a crisis, paper gold may not deliver. Only physical gold in your vault is truly safe. Regulators and central banks are making it clear, if you can't hold it, you don't own it. This is a response to past crises, where financial promises failed. The world is relearning that counterparty risk is the most dangerous risk. Central banks are repatriating gold for this reason. The new system rewards real, tangible assets. Only what you can physically possess counts as true safety. The lesson: trust what you can touch, not just what's promised. In the new order, only real assets matter. This global shift isn't just for central bankers, it affects everyone. The move from a fiat-based to a commodity-backed system brings both risks and opportunities. The biggest risk: instability. Expect more volatility in currencies, rates, and asset prices. For individuals, inflation and declining purchasing power in fiat currencies are real threats. As global demand for the dollar drops, its value could erode. Simply holding cash is riskier than ever. The opportunity: own what central banks are buying. Real assets, like gold and silver. These metals hedge against currency debasement and turmoil. Diversifying into physical precious metals is a form of financial insurance. The dollar isn't vanishing, but the landscape is changing for good. Understanding these shifts lets you navigate risks and seize new opportunities.